she writes, Dr. Ouellette, our daughter, Daphna, is a talented figure skater who aspires to make the U.S. women's figure skating team. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Unfortunately, she took a spill at a recent competition and has a hairline fracture on her right wrist. What can she do to strengthen her wrist so she doesn't hurt herself again? That's a wonderful question. And doctor, before we answer that question, I know we have a wonderful video also from our partners at Baptist Health. Let's take a look at that real quick.
Here at Miami Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute, we receive many patients suffering with problems of the hand and wrist. Whether your pain is from arthritis, carpal tunnel syndrome, or trauma from a jammed finger, it can be difficult to complete necessary jobs. The skilled therapy that we provide can be the difference between having a nagging hand injury and being pain-free. Our home exercise program will focus on improving your range of motion and strengthening. When going through these exercises, do not force your hand or wrist into a position and do not overdo it. During your exercises, please seek medical care if you have any of the following: sharp pain in the hand or wrist in any movement, numbness, tingling, or weakness in your hand or wrist.
When performing hand and wrist exercises, move slowly and do not force it into position. In addition, don't overdo it. Here's some helpful tips for safe hand and wrist exercises. Only do your exercises your healthcare provider suggested, and only as often as prescribed. Don't hold your breath during your exercises and breathe normally. Never force your hand or wrist into position when doing exercises. Immediately stop and seek medical care if you feel severe pain, tingling, or numbness, or dizziness, or lightheadedness. Thank you for allowing us to guide you through your care. Now let's get started.
A big thank you to Dr. Cardoso and of course you, Dr. Ouellette, who are both of you are stars in that video. Your thoughts on this question?
Well, several things. Once you have a hairline fracture, particularly when you're a major competing athlete, you want to just go. And you don't want to stop, but you need to. You need to learn how to protect yourself and let yourself heal. And bones take at least 6 weeks to be knitting back together, but 3 months to be totally knitted back together. And we know that from bone scans and other tests, which people have followed in order to know what time it takes to heal bones. Now, of course, 3 months seems like an eternity to a figure skater at a high competitive level. And but there's many exercises and things that you can do that keep your tone and your ability going, even though you're not on the ice competing. And so you're going to have to back up and really protect that for at least 6 weeks until you have evidence of healing, both clinically and on X-ray. Number 2, how do you strengthen yourself and make yourself invulnerable? Not possible. So you have to be thoughtful. Now, what do I mean by that? So again, for exercising, for lifting weights, use the lion's paw. Protect your wrists when you're lifting weights. And for exercising, etc., there's no muscle that crosses the wrist. So unfortunately, unlike the shoulder, elbow, hip, or knee, which do have muscles that cross, none cross the wrist and none cross the ankle. So these are both two joints that are very vulnerable to injuries, both fractures and ligament tears. So as much as you try and strengthen things, that's not going to help. But what will help is if you add tape, or like, the wrist widget, but taping for competition. And you are wearing these long sleeves, which will hide a lot of sins. So, all those NBA players wearing all those sleeves, there's a lot of taping going under there that would signal to the other team which injuries are being treated. Therefore, sleeves. So you do the same. Make that part of your costume so it covers your wrist and tape it. Now, taping, believe it or not, and we know this from the biomechanics lab, will increase the strength of your joint 2 times. It could be literally just a brown paper grocery bag taped around, and it would increase the strength. So use KT tape to strengthen both your wrists and your ankles, particularly when you're in those kind of competitive sports. And unfortunately, you're moving at high speeds in skating, whether it's hockey or figure skating. And so your chances of getting a fracture are high.